And she came back the next week and she did another ultrasound. The number went up to 9. Another week passed and she did another ultrasound. The number went up to 11. And the technician and the doctor explained to her that if the number hit 12, it would be indicative of a most serious medical issue. She came home and she started to write checks to every tzedakah possible that she had ever heard of, thought of, and her husband said to her, look, we have to give tzedakah, but we can't go bankrupt. So they asked a Rav, and he specifically said to give to Hachnasas Kallah. And she started to get involved, and she really helped as much as she could in as many ways as she could to help needy brides. And Baruch Hashem, the next time she came to the doctor took a deep breath. He looked at her ultrasound and said, I'm a doctor. I'm not allowed to say this, but I'm going to. This is a miracle. The number went down to 5, and he told her never to come back. That boy that she gave birth to is the lead singer on Shevas Achim. Okay, those are the wonderful stories of Refuah Shlema that we have been zocheh to see in our Gemach. In general, I want to tell you about the tremendous siyata dishmaya that we have in our Gemach. Oftentimes I worry about, oh no, where is the money going to come from? How are we going to be able to help these Kallahs who are turning to us? And my husband just looks at me and he says to me, why are you worrying? They aren't your Kallahs. They are HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Kallahs. He will take care of them. And I cannot tell you how many times I just began to think that. I just let that thought into my mind, and somebody called me up and said, oh, I want to have a party. Oh, I need to make a donation. Can I come by? Let me tell you a very, very endearing story that happened to us in the beginning of the Gemach. We didn't have a whole lot in the Gemach, not in terms of items and certainly not in terms of money. And a woman called me and she said, oh, I have 2 children getting married. They're getting married within a month of each other, and the one thing that they both need is linen. Do you have linen in your gemach that we could get? And I didn't want to disappoint the woman. I didn't want to let her know that we had all of 90 shekel in our gemach, which is worth just under $30. So I told her that we would certainly try, and I would be in touch with her. But I knew that certainly try would purchase me just about enough for 2 or 3 pillowcases. Well, I went back to helping my daughter doing her homework. I remember it so vividly, and the phone rang 10 minutes later. It was a woman from Beit Shemesh who was calling me, and she told me that she had told me in the past that when her husband comes back from Chutz La'aretz, he works in America, he often brings with him linen, and she likes to donate it to Kallahs. Now, she doesn't always donate it to Likrat Kallah. Once in a while, she would donate it to us. Well, she was on the phone, and she said to me, Sadina, where have you been? You never answer your phone. You know, I'm trying to call you 2 weeks already. I'm so glad that you answered. You know, my husband came back from America. We have 2 sets of linen. Can I drop them by at your house right now? Needless to say, the siyata dishmaya was so blatant. We were really zocheh to see the hand of Hashem with that story. We have so many of those stories where we really see how Hashem is taking care of his Kallahs. Let me share it with you, another tremendous story. This happened at a party we were having in Givat Shmuel, which is just across the street from Bnei Brak, if you're familiar with the geography here in Israel. It was a group of women. It was a lovely group, and the party was just stunning. And at the end of the party, a woman came up to me and she said, I have a friend. She lives in Petach Tikva, and I know she wants to hear about your gemach. So I said, gladly, take my phone number, and I hope she calls me. Well, the next morning I got a phone call. And the woman on the line from Petach Tikva explained to me that her son had recently broken up his engagement. Now, she wasn't upset about it. She was okay with that. She told me that after they broke up the engagement, she had gotten the money, the down payment money, back from the hall. And when she received that money back, she said to her husband, this money is going to Hachnasas Kallah. Well, her son had broken up his engagement 3 months prior to this. And that money was sitting in her pocketbook for a very long time, and she had yet to act on it. That very night, she told me, she sat down on the couch and she said to her husband, enough, we keep stalling. Let's just give the money. 3 minutes later, her friend, who was in Givat Shmuel at the party, called her and told her about Likrat Kallah. Well, needless to say, the woman in Petach Tikva decided immediately that this was hashgacha pratis. Not only did she donate the money, the down payment money to our gemach, she had a party with her friends, a home party just like this, and Baruch Hashem, it was a very successful evening, and we were able to help so many Kallahs from that evening. I'd like to share with you one more story, one very touching story of the tremendous siyata dishmaya that we see here. But I need to preface this by telling you that even though I've told this story probably 50 to 60 times, I always cry. I just can't tell it without shedding a tear because it is so touching. So it's a story of a woman who wanted to have a party, and she was very excited about it, but she insisted that the party be for one Kallah. Now, we help so many Kallahs that I tried to explain to her that it would be so much more beneficial if all these gifts could be distributed amongst the many Kallahs that we help. But she was adamant and steadfast in her belief that it had to be one Kallah. So I consulted my board of directors, which is my husband and my children, and they said, go for it. If that's what she wants to do it. So I looked through my forms, and sure enough, I found a form of a Kallah who was orphaned. So I rang her up and told her about the party, and the more we talked, the more I learned about her. She told me that she was from Hungary, and she had been learning in a seminary here in Israel for a while when she, Baruch Hashem, got engaged. But soon after she got engaged, her father passed away. Now, what she continued to tell me is that when she was a little girl, at the age of 11, her mother took ill, and just before she passed away, before her mother passed away, she revealed to this little 11-year-old girl that she was a Jew, meaning that the first 11 years of her life in Hungary, she didn't even know that she was Jewish. Well, her interest was piqued, and as she grew older, by the time she became a teenager, she decided the time had come for her to find out what Judaism was all about. She came to Israel, she learned at the seminary, and now, just as she got engaged, her father passed away. Well, we had the party, and I must tell you that the women did a wonderful job. They really outfitted her from A to Z, probably 2 times over. She had everything there that she could possibly need. And that's when I realized how much siyata dishmaya, I feel the tears coming, how much siyata dishmaya was involved in this party. Certainly her parents on high were looking down at their daughter thinking, this is what we wanted to give you, but they couldn't. And instead, Hashem sent his messenger. I told you this would happen. Hashem sent his messenger, and she got everything she needed.
Began Eden Nikede Sabeya Tesamach Reim Oahuve Kesamech Acho Yetzircho Began Eden Nikede Sabeya Tesamach Oh Sabeya Reim Oahuve Kesamech Acho Began Eden Nikede
We wanted to ask you if you could tell us a little bit about your family and why you turned to the
התוצאות
Gemach.
לפני החתונה הם הרבה יותר ממה שכל אחד חושב על זה. גם אם אומרים על סכום מסוים בדברים מסוימים, נגיד צמלת כלה עולה $1,000, באמת באמת בסוף זה הרבה יותר. זה כולל צמלת כלה, זה כולל כזה משהו על הראש, זה כולל הרבה יותר פרטים. 10 פעמים לנסוע לירושלים, אז זה לא לבד לנסוע, זה עם עוד מישהו, כל נסיעה זה בערך 100 שקל. כאילו סכומים, הכל הרבה 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 יותר ממה שמדמיינים. וגם, אז זהו, אז ידענו ש...
She's explaining that when you make a wedding, you think it's only going to cost so much, but it ends up costing so much more money. Every time they have to run to Yerushalayim to buy something, they have to pay just for the transportation, just to put out the money for the transportation. And whatever they thought that they were going to get, the dress might cost a certain amount of money, it costs 2 times what they thought.
עכשיו, כל פריט קטן, אף אחד לא יכול עכשיו, נגיד, כשהולכים לקנות משהו, קונים רק פריטים קטנים, נגיד בקיבים. אף אחד לא יכול לחשוב שיוצאים בסכום ענק בסוף. כי כל פריט קטן זה בסוף מצטרף, ולא חושבים על זה, לא יודעים את זה.
Also, you know, you think you're just going to buy one thing, and before you know it, one thing and another thing, and you're up to sums that you never imagined. I mean, this is a nice point that oftentimes we say, okay, we'll save money and we'll buy it for you soon. You know, if the kids need something, okay, we'll buy it as soon as we have the money to buy it. But when it comes to a chassan and kallah who are getting married, you can't tell them, when I have the money, I'll buy you a pat. They need a pat, they need a pan, they have to start their household.
ולפני 6 שנים התגיירתי, ואז אני לבד בארץ, ואחרי זה התגיירתי ולמדתי בסמינר בירושלים. שם למדתי 5 שנים, ואז עד שברוך השם לפני חודשיים הכרתי את הבעלי, הוא גם גר צדק מרומניה. ושנינו בעצם משפחה, והוא תלמיד ישיבה, ואני בעצם נכנסה תלמידה, אני סטודנטית באוניברסיטה, ושנינו גם אין לנו הרבה אמצעים כדי לקנות מה שצריך בבית.
Okay, so she's just told us that she is a convert from China, and her husband is a convert also from Romania. She made Aliyah 6 years ago and has been learning at Neve Yerushalayim. Her husband is a Avrech, a Kollel. He learns in Kollel. She's now learning in the university. So they met 2 months ago. Baruch Hashem, they're married. And they really have no family support, no one to provide them with what they need, and that's why they came to Likrat Kallah to help them set up and get the basics to begin.
אני פניתי לגמ"ח במהלך מביאה עם הרב בבית ברוכת ילדים. המצב הוא קשה. והחלות, הכלה או החתן, אין להם בדרך כלל כלים שאנחנו נוכל לדאוג להם שהם רוצים להיות בבית, שהם יוכלו לעשות ארוחת צהריים. או לשבת, משהו כזה, שיהיה להם סיר, להכין אוכל. אז בשביל זה אנחנו פנינו, שמענו שיש פה גמ"ח שמאוד עוזר לחתנים ולכלות, עם כל הנפש, עם כל הרחמנות, אז ניסינו להכניס.
Baruch Hashem, they come from a family with many children, and it's very hard to be able to buy these basic necessities that allow the couple to even make lunch for themselves or possibly prepare Shabbat. And being able to come to the gemach really, really helps the families to get the couples. Okay, how did you hear about Likrat Kallah? איך שמעתם על Likrat Kallah?
אח שלי התחתן לפני 2 וגיסתי מירושלים קיבלה מהסמינר שלה רשימת המלצות, ואתם הייתם בתוכם. היא הגיעה שבועיים אחרי החתונה לבית שמש בירושלים, והיא אמרה שהיא מגיעה לכאן. אז התקשרתי אליה, אחרי שהתארצתי, שאלתי אותה על זה, אז אמרה לי בליקרת קלה, מקווים מאוד מאוד.
So her brother got married a short while ago, and her sister-in-law came, and she said, when you come to Likrat Kallah, you really get beautiful gifts. Thank you so much. I'm asking her if the couple actually did get gifts at the wedding.
הם קיבלו כמעט ולא, למה אני בת יחידה בלי הורים, שלא היה לי מי שייתן בעצם. ובצד השני, תלוי איזה משפחה. לפעמים היה קצת כל מיני דברים, אבל לא משימושים כמו כלים.
Okay, so this woman is an only child, and so she doesn't have siblings who gave gifts or parents. And from her husband, she said guests here and there came with some gifts, but not many. And so really the parents are left with the responsibility of buying everything for the children. היה שווה הנסיעה? Was it worth coming today?
כן, מאוד. האמת עכשיו היום בבוקר הייתי בלימודים, ממש אני מאוד התרגשתי להגיע לפה. קשה, עמדתי בחוץ, כל כך הרבה קלות היו פה, נעזרו בו, ממש בית המקום הזה מלא ברכה.
Thank you. She said that, yes, from the morning she's been looking forward to coming. She went to university and then immediately came, and when she came she saw so many Kallahs, and she realized this is such a special place that she and other girls like her could get items that they need for the kitchen.
היה שווה מאוד, חיכינו כל הזמן שאנחנו כבר נוכל להגיע.
Okay, I asked her if it was worthwhile to come. She said it was very worthwhile, and they've been waiting some time to come and get their gifts. So it seems like it was worth it. זה נראה שהיה שווה. אולי תספרו לנו?
היה שווה, קיבלתי טוסטר סנדוויץ' עד היום בשביל לעשות פיצה, סנדוויץ' טוסטר, נו?
סנדוויץ' פריך, מבושל.
אז אני צריכה לשים פרוסה במחבת, גבינה צהובה מעל, ולחכות שזה יימס. ככה יש לי טוסטר יותר נחמד, יותר מתורבת ונחמד.
Okay, all kinds of things that either she didn't get, like a toaster sandwich, and other items like even food containers, just that are so important and so thankful that you got. Okay. That's our Gemach in a nutshell. I want to thank you so much for coming. I want to bless you with a lot of siyata dishmaya in whatever area that you need, and I want you to know that you never know how far your schuyot will go. I want to encourage you women who are sitting here tonight to think about having your own party. You know, we once had a party here in Ramat Beit Shemesh, and it was a small party. About 7 or 10 women came. But from that party blossomed 2 more parties. And one of those parties that blossomed was a woman was there, and she said, you know, I like this idea of a home party. I'm going to have a home party in my house. Sure enough, a few weeks later, she hosted a home party in her house. She was actually Israeli, and all her friends came, and we spoke in Hebrew. I explained the Gemach to them, and they loved the idea, and they decided to have a big event for the Hebrew-speaking community, and that is the event that we have had for the last 5 years. So you never know where your schuyot will take you, and I encourage you, get involved, be mekayim the mitzvah of Hachnasas Kallah. Thank you so much.
Oh, you lim shiso, I lim shiso, shoy soyich, verochaku kol mevaloyich, verochaku kol mevaloyich. Oh, you lim shiso, I lim shiso, shoy soyich, verochaku kol mevaloyich, verochaku kol mevaloyich. Oh, Yossi, so alaychel, lekoyim sois choson al Kallah. Yossi, so alaychel, lekoyim